decisions about marriage, decisions about career, decisions about education, decision about business. All of these require that we take step. But then every time there is an error in the kind of decision you make, you run into problem. Because the difference between succeeding and failing might just be because of the kind of decision you took. Some of those errors can be corrected. Some of them can come with another chance. Some of them, no. Excuse me. Once you make the mistake, you can't correct them. That's why it's important that if your life will be successful as an evidence, then you must be careful to take the right decision. Take the right step, make right decisions. But then, the challenge usually is at the point when you have to make a decision, there are voices. Voices. So, knowing the right voice, therefore, it's very, very important. So by God's grace, today and in our next meeting, we shall be looking at the subject of the voice to follow. The voice to follow. And today, I'll be talking about voices and the voice. What you must know. Voices and the voice. What you must know. Numbers chapter 12. Numbers chapter 12, verses 1 to 12. Sorry, did I say number 12? I mean Numbers 20. Numbers 20, 1 to 12. Numbers 20, 1 to 12. Numbers 20, 1 to 12. Then the children of Israel, the whole congregation, came into the wilderness of Zin in the first month. And the people stayed in Kadesh. And Miriam died there and was buried there. Now there was no water for the congregation. So they gathered together against Moses and Aaron. And the people contended with Moses and spoke, saying, if only we had died when our brethren died before the Lord. Why have you brought up the assembly of the Lord into this wilderness, that we and our animals should die here? And why have you made us to come up out of Egypt, to bring us to this evil place? It is not a place of grain, or figs, or vines, or pomegranates, nor is there any water to drink. Verse 6, so Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly to the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and they fell on their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared to them. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, take the rod, you and your brother Aaron, gather the congregation together, speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will yield its water. Thus you shall bring water for them out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and their animals. So Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock. And he said to them, "Hear now, you rebels, must we bring water for you out of this rock?" Then Moses lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod, and water came out abundantly, and the congregation and their animals drank. Then, verse 12, the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not believe me to hallow me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them." Now, from what we read, you will notice that Moses and Aaron recently buried their sister Miriam. It was not long. And then there was a challenge that needed action. There was no water. People wanted water. Not for people, not for animals. So they cried to Moses, and the Bible said they contended with him. And then Moses went to God. God heard the people crying. So even before Moses and Aaron would talk to God, God spoke, gave instruction on what to do, and said, "Go and do it." Unfortunately, somewhere along the line, something took over Moses, and what God said was not what Moses did. And that was it. That was it. By the time God will speak again, the future of Moses had changed. The future of Aaron had changed. God's plan for their future had been tampered with. Not by God, but by the decision they took. Interestingly, you will notice that in speaking to them, even though God was talking to Moses, because Aaron was there as a witness, he also was going to partake of the consequences of the error of Moses. So none of the two of them would lead the people into the promised land, because Moses took a wrong decision. He took a wrong decision because he was listening to a wrong voice. At the time when he had to act, the voice of the people, their ranting, their crying, their contention was there in the ears and in the mind of Moses. But then, the voice of God was there too, because God has spoken. One thing we didn't know until he acted was that there was also a voice within him talking. So, which of these would he listen to? The voice of the people, the voice of God, or his own inner voice? If he listened to the voice of God, he will get God's result. If he listened to the people, he will become like them. If he listened to his own voice, he will miss what God has in stock. Unfortunately, Moses listened to himself. And because he listened to himself and followed his own voice, he missed what God said. That changed the whole story. Now, it is not only Moses that faces situations like that. You and I, in one way or the other, come face to face with several situations in life when you must take a step. You must make a decision. You must decide on what you want to do. And like Moses, we hear voices. Your pain is a voice. Your hunger is a voice. Poverty is a voice. Situations and circumstances around cry in their own way. But every time these things are crying, there are human voices too, speaking to you. People you love, people you counsel, people you seek counsel from. They also speak. As situation and circumstances are speaking, people are speaking, God is speaking. And your mind or your heart is also speaking. Voices. 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 There are a few things we should learn about these voices and the voice. Because when we know what we should know, it will help us to make right decision. To help us to make right decision. To follow the voice and not just voices all around us. If you live in this country at this time, so many voices out there. Social media voices, economic voices, banditry voices, terrorist voices. All of them are speaking. Pandemic voices. And we must take step. Because they are not the only ones speaking. God is also speaking. And your heart is also speaking. Your heart is also speaking. 7 things you need to know about voices and the voice. Number 1, like we've been saying, every time you have a major decision to make, these voices are right there. Each one contending for your attention. Hardly would you have something major to take a step about in life that it would be just a straightforward voice. Go and do it. No. Even if no human voice is there, other human voice is there, the voice of God and your own voice will be speaking and contending to get your attention. And if you, for any reason, try to seek counsel or talk with someone else, you are increasing the number of voices. You are increasing the number of voices. So the voices are always there. They will always be there. They've always been. And you must do something, because if you do nothing, you stay nowhere, you go nowhere. The second thing you must know is that although each of the voices has something to offer you, they are not all equally right. They're not equally right. There is no voice reasonably that will speak to you that does not have anything to offer you. The voice of your mind will tell you something that sounds good, believable, easy for you. The voice of God will also speak to you in a way that, yeah, that looks like it. The counsel of people will also sometimes come like, that sounds better. And God have mercy on you if you fall into the hand of good marketers. They will talk you to buy what you don't want to buy because it sounds good. But you must know that even though there are voices, each of them saying something good, what they are saying is not equally right. When you weigh what each of these voices are saying, some are better, some are more correct than the others. Of course, the best of them all is the voice of God. Because they're not equally right, then you cannot go for what each one of them or all of them are saying. That will even be crazy, wanting to go with all the voices. Then you'll be in trouble. Because you go this way small, you go this way small, then this way small, then that way small. I don't know how many of you probably have been there or have seen people who never complete anything they start in life. It's because of voices. You go to school, you want to read chemistry, for example, and then you get to 200 level chemistry, you say, no, I don't think chemistry is what I want. I think physics is what I want. You go and start physics again, and then you get to 300 level physics, you said, no, I am not sure physics is. Maybe. Anyway, now that I have an idea of physics and chemistry, I think biology is the best thing to read. So you go and start biology again. So 7 years will go. Others are graduating. You're just still going round and round because you're trying to follow each of the voices speaking to you. You can't follow all. You can't follow all. The third thing you must have in mind is that the fact that a voice is loud does not make it more correct. That is a loud voice doesn't mean it is correct. In fact, most of the time, those loud voices lack substance. Look at the voice of the people. In the passage we read, the voice of the people was the loudest. Numbers chapter 20. The voice of the people was the loudest. They asked many, many big questions. They gathered, they contended, they shouted, they made noise, they made sure they were heard. Very loud. Their questions appear valid in the face of the situation. Yes, that's the kind of question they should be asking. But the issue is not the question, the issue is the solution. Does their question lead to solving the problem? No. It was only re-echoing the problem, just talking about it and talking about the past. So if you will go with their question, the only way you can end up is just roaming around in a circle. that a voice is loud does not make it more correct. You must know that. So when you want to make a decision, the loud one is coming, bang, 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 bang. Remember that they even say it, that it is not everything that glitters that is what? That is gold. No. For when you see the real pure gold, they don't glitter at first. You must brush and wash, treat it before the brightness of it comes. When you see those things that are not gold, fake, they are the ones that comes shining bright forth. Wow. Many times, loud voices lack substance. So whether it is your own voice, or the voice of people around you, or the voice of the situation you are facing, be careful. Be careful. Invest now. Invest now. Invest now. Invest now. Be careful. Be careful. Why? Because the loudness of it is not an indication of how correct it is. Number 4, you must know also that the voice you follow is up to you. Nobody is going to decide for you. Many voices. You can't follow all. But the one you follow will be your choice. You decide the one you follow. You are going to decide the one you follow. So, people spoke to Moses. God spoke to Moses. Moses to him. But Moses decided what he will do. God said to him, go, speak to the rock. But the heart of Moses has been saying to him, these people, they are ungrateful people. These people, they are bad people. These people, they are wicked people. These people, they are rebellious people. These people, you better tell them the truth. That's what his heart was saying to him. So he had a choice to just do what God said, speak to the rock, give them water and go his way, or speak to the people and tell them his mind and give them water if water will still come, and ends the story. He chose to talk to the people instead of talking to the rock. What was God's instruction? Speak to the rock. Don't mind the people. What they want is water. Don't worry. You speak to the rock. The rock will give them water, and that will be the end of the story. But his heart told him something differently. So he chose his heart. He spoke to the people and struck the rock. Water came out. People drank water, but that was not the end of the story. They were satisfied. It ended their own story. But God was not satisfied, and it changed the life and the future of Moses. pray for you. The steps you will take that will make God to be angry with you, may you never take them. And if you're already taking one, may God restrain you from taking further steps. May God restrain you from taking further steps. You will decide. You will decide. Number 5 that you must know and have in mind is the fact that following God's step the first time does not mean you will always follow it. So, you can never get to a point where you will say, I can't make mistake following. I can't make mistake. I will always do it. No. There is a need for you and I to always listen to God afresh. Listen to God how often? Afresh. All the time. Don't ever get to a point where you say, oh, no. I know the voice of God. I know the way he speaks to me and I will do it. No.